Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabi. I welcome you to Disease Transmission and Control, a self-assessment project. Classify the following diseases under the headings: transmissible and non-transmissible, lung cancer, whooping cough, rickets, arthritis, appendicitis, food poisoning, tuberculosis, measles, diabetes, anemia, syphilis, influenza, AIDS, coronary heart disease, hemophilia. Transmissible, we have whooping cough, food poisoning, tuberculosis, measles, syphilis, influenza, AIDS. Non-transmissible, lung cancer, rickets, arthritis, appendicitis, diabetes, anemia, coronary heart disease, hemophilia. In droplet infection, where do the droplets come from? What infective agent might they contain? Give 2 examples of diseases normally spread by droplets. Droplets come from respiratory passages: bronchi, trachea, nose, and the mouth. Droplets might contain bacteria and viruses. Give 2 examples of diseases normally spread by droplets. Examples of infections spread by droplets are tuberculosis, colds, influenza, measles, chickenpox. Give 2 examples of diseases which can be spread by contaminated drinking water. How can the spread of such disease be prevented? Typhoid and cholera can be spread by contaminated water. The spread of such diseases can be prevented by effective disposal of sewage, purification of drinking water. Suggest 3 ways in which food might become contaminated by harmful bacteria. Food may be contaminated from the unwashed hand of a food handler, by houseflies or blowflies walking over it, by infected droplets or dust particle landing on it. Which one of the following is least important in preventing the contamination of food? Keeping food away from flies, washing the hand before preparing the food, not coughing or sneezing over food, not smoking while preparing food. Although smoking while preparing food is indicative of slovenly attitude, there is little risk of its contaminating food. Tobacco ash would be sterile. The following events explain an outbreak of food poisoning in a factory canteen. Put the events in appropriate order. Pathogenic bacteria in intestine, unwashed hand prepare food. Chicken worker has intestinal disease. Outbreak of food poisoning. Pathogenic bacteria in feces. Pathogenic bacteria get into food. Hands not washed after defecation. Feces expelled in a laboratory. Food ingested by healthy people. The most likely order of events is as follows. Kitchen worker has intestinal disease. Pathogenic bacteria present in intestine. Pathogenic bacteria in feces. Feces expelled in a laboratory. Hands not washed after defecation. Unwashed hand prepares food. Pathogenic bacteria get into food. Food ingested by healthy people. Outbreak of food poisoning. Note, E and H are interchangeable. Which one of the following is the most appropriate description of a contagious disease? A contagious disease is one which is spread by contaminated food, contaminated drinking water, contact with infected people, droplet from an infected person. The most appropriate description of contagious disease is one which is spread by contact with an infected person, or in fact, clothing or towels, etc., used by an infected person. In the air passage, a layer of dash traps bacteria. This dash is carried away from the lining by the action of dash cells, which line the air passage. In the air passage, a layer of mucus traps bacteria. This mucus is carried away from the lungs by the action of ciliated cells, which line the air passage. The dash layer of the skin is a barrier to the entry of bacteria. Also, the dash glands and the dash glands produce bactericidal substances. If bacteria gets through damaged skin, they are attacked by dash and dash in the blood. The conified layer of the skin is a barrier to the entry of bacteria. Also, the sweat glands and sebaceous glands produce bactericidal substances. If the bacteria gets through the damaged skin, they are attacked by white cells and antibodies in the blood. What is the purpose of the gauze mask worn by surgeons during the operation? The gauze masks worn by surgeons prevent infected droplets from reaching the patient. What sources of water are least likely to contain pathogenic bacteria? Water most likely to contain pathogenic bacteria will be that which receives untreated or partially treated sewage. Water least likely to be contaminated will be that which comes from unpopulated areas or has filtered through rock layers into underground aquifers. Put the following in the correct order for a water purification plant: chlorination plant, settling tank, water tower, slow sand filter, coarse screen. The correct sequence is as follows: coarse screen, settling tank, slow sand filter, chlorination plant, water tower. Which one of the following is least likely to prevent contamination of food by houseflies? A well-fitted dustbin lid, swatting flies, covering food with clean film, efficient sewage disposal. Unless all flies are swatted before they can land on food, which is not an effective way of preventing contamination. In many cases, when you catch an infectious disease, your blood produces dash against the infective organism. These dash remain in the blood or can be rapidly made so that you are dash to further attack of the disease. You can acquire dash by receiving injections of a dash from of a pathogen or its inactivated dash. The injected substance is called dash. Immune, immunity, pathogen, disease, vaccine, antibodies, toxin, harmless, antigens. In many cases, when you catch an infectious disease, your blood produces antibodies against the infective organism. These antibodies remain in the blood and can be rapidly made so that you are immune to further attack of the disease. You can acquire immunity by receiving injection of harmless form of pathogen or its inactivated toxin. The injected substance is called a vaccine. Which of the following diseases can be prevented by inoculation? Rubella, syphilis, tuberculosis, polio, gonorrhea, cold, measles, hemophilia, mumps, tetanus, AIDS. Rubella, tuberculosis, polio, measles, mumps, and tetanus can be prevented by inoculation. Match each disease with its correct type of vaccine. Tuberculosis, whooping cough, diphtheria, polio. We have harmless form of virus, inactivated toxin, killed bacteria, harmless form of bacteria. Tuberculosis, vaccine contains a harmless form of bacteria. Whooping cough contains killed bacteria. Diphtheria, inactivated toxin. Polio, harmless form of virus. Antiseptics and disinfectants both kill dash, but only dash are safe to use on the skin if sufficiently diluted. Antiseptics and disinfectants both kill bacteria, but only antiseptics are safe to use on the skin if sufficiently diluted. Complete the following sentences, selecting the most appropriate word from the list below. An ideal dash against the infectious disease would be one which destroys the dash, but did not harm the dash. Pathogen, host, drug. An ideal drug against infectious disease would be the one which destroys the pathogen, but did not harm the host. A person with a cough takes a patent cough syrup. In 3 days, the cough is better. Does this mean that the syrup has cured the cough? Justify your answer. There is insufficient evidence to support a claim that the syrup cured the cough. The cough might have got better without any treatment at all. Thank you very much for participating in Disease Transmission and Control, a self-assessment program. Please do like, share, and subscribe.